Welcome to another informative episode of Housing Development, your go-to source for trending housing information. I am Fleur Ani, your housing diva. Money laundering is a growing concern in Nigeria as people are getting smarter at finding ways to launder their illicit funds. This bothers a lot of us because the real estate industry has become a major target. What concrete measures can make it significantly more difficult for the corrupt to hide their illicit funds in property? Now let's discuss these and more right after we see the news making rounds in the sector.
President of the African Development Bank Group, Akinwumi Adesina, says the bank is working on a Desert to Power initiative, which would lead to development of 10,000 megawatts of solar power in the Sahel of Africa, providing electricity to 250 million people. Adesina says Africa needs massive support to adapt to climate change, which has had devastating effects on the continent, adding that Africa should discuss climate resilience and green recovery. He also advised that as Africa builds back from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, it should do so with greater priority to climate resilience and green recovery. Abuja International Housing Show, AIHS, in collaboration with top players in the real estate sector, is ready for Nigeria's first affordable housing project competition for Nigerian youth to promote affordable housing design, production, and finance using value engineering. The architectural design competition is part of the company's contribution towards actualization of affordable housing for all in the country. The competition is open to youths between the ages of 18 to 30 who are either architects, engineers, builders, or quantity surveyors. In a statement signed by Mr. Festus Adebayo, convener of Abuja International Housing Show, winners of the competition will be announced at Nigeria Housing Awards during the 15th Abuja International Housing Show 2021. The winner, according to Adebayo, will go home with 500,000 naira, while the second place will have 300,000 naira and the third place 200,000 naira from Royal Ceramic. And prizes and opportunities will also be given by other sponsors, including the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Family Home Funds Limited, Modern Shelter Limited, Copen Group Limited, and Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria. Interested participants should visit www.ihsabuja.com or send an email to abujahousingshow@gmail.com for more details. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State has disclosed that the housing scheme his administration is setting up for citizens of the state has a prolonged repayment package for civil servants. Inspecting the ongoing Coal City View Satellite Estate project in Enugu being constructed for civil servants by the Enugu State Housing Development Corporation in partnership with Alpha Mead Development Company, Mafas Group, and AG Mortgage Bank, the governor said this is another way the government is addressing housing challenges in the state. According to the general manager of ESHDC, Chukwuemelie Agu, the housing project, which is located at the proximity of New Market Bridge, Abo, Enugu, by Ugwuonyema, comprises 750 units combination of one-bedroom, two-bedroom and three-bedroom bungalows.
For more housing, finance, and construction news, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Moving on, Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Company PLC recently published its annual reports and accounts for the year 2020 at its annual general meeting held recently in Lagos. Our correspondent covered the event. Let's have a look.
Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company PLC, NMRC, has recorded a decrease in interest income as stated in its annual reports and accounts for 2020 at its annual general meeting held at the Echo Hotel, Victoria Island, Lagos. Highlighting its overall performance for the year 2020, Chief Executive Officer of NMRC, Kehinde Ogundimu, says that while COVID-19 pandemic impacted the sector negatively, the company was still able to post a profit and partner the World Bank to conduct a study on the development of the electronic mortgage assets registry system.
Everything went well. The performance for the year was also decent. We made just about as much as we made the previous year in terms of profitability, despite the negative impact of COVID on the economy. We have started another year, 2021. So far, things are looking better than 2020. So we hope that by the time we end this year, we'll be doing much better. Shareholders also approved a dividend of 41 kobo for every shares of the company held. So we'll be paying out the dividend tomorrow to all shareholders whose names appear on the books.
NMRC is a CBN-licensed mortgage liquidity facility with a core mandate of developing the primary and secondary mortgage markets. The company raises long-term funds from the capital markets for mortgage refinancing and, by extension, promotes affordable housing finance and home ownership in Nigeria. Meanwhile, Chairman of the NMRC, Adeyemi Johnson, says he's proud of what the company is doing and its work towards societal stability.
Housing is critical for human development, for societal stability, and it's something which Nigeria has a significant lack. So this company has an important mission, and we come to the annual general meeting to report on the progress of that mission and to report that we're conducting ourselves according to the best governance for the purpose of achieving the mission that we've been given by the shareholders.
According to the chairman, the slowdown of the economy resulted in job losses and default on mortgage obligation. And NMRC's investment income also came under pressure with decrease in interest income. But despite these challenges, profits before income tax decreased marginally from 3.097 billion naira in 2019 to 3.039 billion naira in 2020, while the company's balance sheet increased from 72.867 billion naira in 2019 to 85.044 billion naira, following the company's Series 3 bond issuance in November 2020.
What is the name of my grandson?
Suleiman.
That's a good name. May the Almighty preserve him.
Amen.
Now that your family is growing, this is the time for you to start thinking of a house of your own.
Abba, the thought of this has always been on my mind. To build a house now, you need a lot of money, and that is what is holding me back.
Sonny, what you need is a mortgage. NHF mortgage loan. With NHF mortgage loan, you own a house upfront and pay gradually over a long period of time.
Abba, I will go to the FMBN office right away.
Come join us at FMBN and let's shelter Nigeria together.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. The real estate sector has been described as one with a grand scale of corruption in Nigeria, as it is being used as an avenue to launder money, according to the chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Reacting to this, experts in the sector has advised the federal government not to clamp down on the sector, but rather investigate the sources of funds of such individuals. Take a listen.
According to the European Parliament's briefing on understanding money laundering through real estate transactions, abuse of the real estate sector in relation to acquiring property in the form of land or buildings has long been described as one of the oldest known ways to launder ill-gotten gains. Experts in the real estate sector in Nigeria have reacted to the recent claim by the EFCC chair that the sector is a major conduit for money laundering in the country, emphasizing that the EFCC should not be thinking of clamping down on real estate developers, but rather focus on tracking the sources of these funds because it's passed through a bank.
Shelter, which is the purview of the average estate surveyor and valuer, is now being seen as one major drive for illicit economy, wherein people taking money from the public sector that have been stolen to launder and make it look like legitimate business. Any sector that is related to the housing sector, for example, that controls 15% of the entire global GDP, shouldn't be taken any less serious. So if there are illicit funds going into that sector, the needful that is being proposed to be done by the EFCC is a welcome development, because the illicit economy should not drive the legitimate economy.
Real estate is something that is physical. You would definitely see it. And before a building can be erected or constructed, there would only be an approval, which will be known to the government. obviously, people will definitely, it's not an hidden thing. Once a development is coming up in an area, in a location, people will see that there is a development coming up. So they can't say, oh, and the name, except if people are not being truthful about the approval, which requires tax and other stuff, then I don't know what they really mean about that.
Recall that the EFCC boss, Abdulrashid Bawa, had in an interview with Channels Television disclosed that the commission investigated a female minister who bought a $37.5 million property from a bank and deposited $20 million cash. It is hoped that EFCC will focus on investigating sources of stolen funds rather than clamping down on the sector, which may in turn affect recovery of the economy after the negative impact the COVID-19 pandemic has already had on the sector.
One of the most prominent features of your house is your roof. Your roof will tell how old your building is. At Plus World, we pride ourselves in having the expertise and products to bring your roof back to life. While other roofing companies suggest removing the roof, we restore the roof with warranty assurance. Let Plus World Roofing recoat your old and fading roofs and make your roofs brand new. Our products are eco-friendly and completely harmless to human and the environment. We offer services that will sustain your roof's integrity and by extension, your property value. This includes roof repairs and maintenance for residential, commercial, and industrial properties. Our roof restoration solution saves you up to 70% the cost of replacing your roof. Contact Plus World Roofing today.
Some housing experts there were of the opinion that instead of the federal government clamping down the real estate sector, investigating the sources of funds of those who engage real estate firms to conceal illicit funds would be ideal. Now, the next issue on line is the norm of building or acquiring houses and leaving them unoccupied for years. Watch as some Nigerians react to this issue on Voices on the Streets.
If I was the president, what I would do is I would actually go there, pursue everybody, pack people from the villages and then take them down there, let them start living. Because one of the rights of everybody is free accommodation. You should go to all those estates and then revoke their license and say, okay, and investigate. Why are people keeping houses for years for their children, while the people are still alive, they cannot afford this thing. What they should do is one, either they revoke their license and then take those buildings and give it to the masses. Because in the first place, the property, the land and everything belongs to the masses.
I would say that unoccupied houses, they can rent it out to people that don't even have at all. Like Asokoro here, there are so many buildings, mansions that there is nobody. From year to year, there are nobody except rats, cockroach, everything that is taken over the place. But there are so many people that don't even have a place to lay their head. Let people occupy the empty houses, the building that there is nobody.
The government should put a policy that any house that is not occupied for so time, then they should find a way to give or to a kind of make the owner of the house to make available those houses so that those that does not have house to stay, they can stay inside of them, or they can even put a tax. That tax can force them to put it for rent and the rest, because most of the houses in Asokra and Maitama and other places, they are all empty. You go to a whole street, you see empty houses. 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, duplex, all of them are empty. So I think if the policy are made that those who have those houses should put it in use, either by them or by any other people that can be able to occupy them, or even subsidize it so that with a little amount of money, people can be able to rent those places. I think it will be a better way. So taxes should be imposed on those who left their houses empty without people, those taxes will make them to start bringing people to stay there or collect a little amount of money so that people can stay in those houses.
Just want the government to collect the houses, to share it for the poor ones.
It is the duty of the government to officially allocate houses to all citizens of this country. If there is an unoccupied flats, unoccupied houses here and there, and the owners have no use of it, and are not ready to bring the rate down for the downtrodden to occupy this, I will advise the government to forcefully take some percentage of it and give to the less privileged, those who are lonely, sleeping aimlessly on the street, cut across the whole federation.
Economic City, sited on 117 hectares of land in Kano State, the economic hub of northern Nigeria, is a world-class premier international economic city designed as an architectural focal reference point for market development projects within West Africa. Chairman, Project Implementation Board of Brains and Hammers Kano Economic City, Mohammed Aliyu, says this is an appropriately timed project in Kano State, necessitated by the volume of commercial activities and cross-border trades facilitated through the state.
We will go around and see. Is a project between Brains and Hammers and Kano State government, what we call public-private partnership. And the idea is the government is giving us the land, and Brains and Hammers, through the Kano Economic City Project Limited, is implementing. It's supposed to be a three-phase project, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. It's supposed to be a number of shops of over 50,000. By the time we complete it, it's poised to be the biggest modern market in West Africa.
Knowing that the last purpose-built market in Kano State was implemented in the 1980s, and from a point of development, job creation, and commerce enhancement, Brains and Hammers decided to partner the Kano State government in partnership with Jaiz Bank to develop a major economic hub and export processing zone.
We have phase 1, we have phase 2, and we have phase 3. Phase 1 is expected to be a trailer park, a park for trucks and warehouses and logistics centers, while phase 2 is expected to accommodate a computer center where we call GSM, then a textile market. So that is these are all together in phase 1. Then phase 2 is for pharmaceutical centers, what we call coordinated research centers. So it's meant for pharmaceutical practitioners. Then we have the phase 3. Phase 3 is the industrial phase, where we have a trade center, we have a conference, we have motels. We will propose institutions to be in phase 3. As you can see on the plan, we have a light factory industries, then the dry terminal, then the GSM part and the textile market. Then the phase 2 is pharmaceutical block, and the phase 3 is the industrial place, as I said earlier.
Development of the Kano Economic City project is broken into phases. Phase 1 consists of 1,000 units of duplex, luxury, and basic shops dedicated to pharmaceutical wholesalers and other 3,000 units of shops designed for the information technology section, popularly referred to as GSM Village. It is worthy of note that more than 3,000 units of shops are either completed or at 90% completion rate.
I'm Debbie Erb. I work for OPIC in the United States and keep watching the Affordable Housing Development Program.
It is quite unfortunate that at a time when many Nigerians have no roof over their heads and many complain of homelessness, we still have completed yet unoccupied houses littered especially in major cities across the Federation. Reacting to this, estate surveyors and valuers have also advised the federal government to do the needful by imposing special tax on such empty properties.
For many years now, Nigerians have lamented over the high number of vacant houses in major cities across the country. The reason is closely linked to affordability, which borders on whether low and middle income earners can afford these houses. This lamentation has been echoed again by key players in the real estate industry during the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers 2021 Yearly Conference and Annual General Meeting. Immediate past president of the institution, Roland Abonta, and others charged the government to impose special taxes on unoccupied buildings in order to force down the high cost of rent.
I advised government to make use of the professionals to take inventory of such vacant houses, particularly in a city like Abuja and Lagos. And then when they have that database, begin to put some penalties or some levies in terms of taxes on vacant houses. That will compel the owners to put their properties into use. What keeps them vacant is that the prices are out of the reach of Nigerians that need accommodation. And so, because what they invested maybe did not come from bank loans or lending from other sources, so they can afford to lock it up for years without bothering about it being locked up like that.
For some people, these empty houses are there because owners have not yet gotten buyers for their property. However, government should engage professionals who are the estate surveyors and valuers to take proper inventory of the number of unoccupied houses in major cities across the country if they must address the high housing deficits facing the country.
You see, most things, especially in Abuja now, where you see a lot of houses not occupied, because a lot of those landlords have multiple houses. And some of them are not even willing to let them out. You just want to keep them for speculation, some for just keeping, for just status. Some are not even interested in the rent. You just want to keep it personally to appreciate, with the intent to sell it after. Some is for personal uses. You go to Asoko, go to Meta, you see a lot of houses not occupied. They are owned by big men who don't need the income. So government can do better by taxing them. Maybe by that they tax each of those houses, they will know there's no need for them to keep it.
When government impose taxes on all those big houses in Guzape, Asokoro, I think we have enough to do on the houses.
It is important to note that experts continue to say that many of these houses are built by very rich people who do not suffer so much for the money and so can afford to lock up these houses when they build them. They insist that it is by imposing taxes on the properties that governments can effectively address.
What are the three things that will lead to massive construction in this country?
If we understand that cities are now going vertical, meaning they're going up, then we need to adjust our paradigm.
For us, building isn't just about providing the housing, but the economic empowerment aspect of it is also critical.
That is the much I can bring on today's episode of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. I remain Flora Ani, your Housing Diva. Do have a lovely weekend.